I wonder how you're interpreting the remarks by the president, knowing the flotilla, the armada that we have assembled that's about to get even bigger in the Caribbean. How do you read his remarks, and what do you think's about to happen in Venezuela?
I think it's like jiggling the skeleton key in the lock. It doesn't always engage the first time you move it back and forth and play with it a little bit. So you've got military force. Rumors are that there are some special operators inside Venezuela. You're not quite sure what the target is. That's Maduro's problem. Is it him? Could he just suddenly disavow Russia, Iran, and China and say, no, I don't want them. I'm on your side, America? Could he suddenly say, I'm going to crack down on all? Could he say, I'm just going to accept the results of the next election, and I mean it this time? He doesn't know what the objective is, so he's under a lot of pressure. And I think this is part of the strategy. We don't know what the objective really is of the administration, but if it really is about drugs, then yes, most of it is coming through Mexico by land. And if you're going to do something with drugs, you have to look at the demand side as well. So we're just in the early stages of this yet. This is a pressure building up on Maduro.
It is something. You mentioned the demand side. We never talk about that as if these drugs are, being pushed on Americans. They're coming here because Americans are demanding them, which is its own problem. The USS Gerald Ford is on its way right now, General. It's apparently not in theater yet. Would the administration take action without that platform being there?
Well, it depends on what the objective is of the administration. If the objective was to go in and snatch Maduro and put him on trial somewhere, then maybe you don't need the Ford there. If the objective is to sort of intimidate, be prepared, then you want overwhelming force. And that's what we're assembling there. They do have aircraft. Anti-aircraft, they have radars, they have ships, but that could all be taken out in a few hours, I think. What you couldn't do, even with the two amphibious groups that are there from the Marines and so forth, what you can't do is really go in and occupy Venezuela. It's just too big, too many people, too many weapons distributed. Yeah. You can't quite do the same kind of takedown that we did in Panama against Manuel Noriega in 1989. That was an entirely different case, legally, militarily, geopolitically. So this is different. We still don't really know what the objective is of the administration. And it could be that really it is drugs. It also could be that's just what you say when there's a private set of objectives that are coordinated through Congress. And he has briefed at least the Republican members of Congress in the big committees. I hope he'll bring the Democrats in too, because national security shouldn't be partisan. It should be beyond the country's borders. We should all be one nation.
Well, this is a great point that you make, and maybe that will actually tell us a bit if we start seeing briefings across the aisle on Capitol Hill. I know that the Pentagon has not been terribly fond of talking to Congress at all lately. But, General, we've seen B-1 bombers and B-52 bombers buzzing Venezuela's airspace. We also saw Venezuelan F-16s buzz a couple of U.S. ships weeks ago when we first started striking these alleged drug boats coming out of Venezuela. You mentioned the fact that they do have some aircraft. They've got anti-aircraft missiles and the like. What kind of a job would it be for us to knock all of that out? Or would there in fact be an air war over Venezuela?
You never want to discount an adversary. So, yes, they've got pilots. They fly F-16s. They have some air-to-air weapons, but they don't have the modern air-to-air weapons. And they don't have the system that we have. So there might be an air war over Venezuela. They might get some aircraft actually off the ground. But in terms of our ability to reach out and strike, our ability to use stealth, our ability to name the time and manner of attack and so forth, I don't think there's any question about the outcome. And the Israelis have really pioneered this. In their operations, they typically strike. They're effective. They're using our technology. Of course, we know all those systems. I wouldn't think there'd be much of a problem. But for the pilot in the aircraft, hey, he's put his life on the line for the country. He's got to succeed, and we would do everything possible to make sure we can do this effectively without losses.
Yep. As we're speaking, General, we're showing images, video of some of the alleged drug boats that we've blown up recently. Too many to count at this point. There was a sub. We've got the boats as well. This is quite a gallery that we have of these things blowing up and catching on fire. A lot of people have died. As someone who actually ran Southern Command, what is your thought on the legality of this operation so far?
Well, it should have been briefed as legal. Presumably, there's some legal authorization to it. We haven't been told that. The evidence that has been presented to Congress, at least as it's been explained publicly, doesn't fully justify that we know for sure that these are drug boats. And if they are, then it would be a violation really of maritime norms to attack them. We would normally seize and secure them, use them to collect information, and then run it back to the source. This is a different approach. It's more about sort of naked power than it is the international rules-based system. And this is one of the concerns that so many have today when you look at the shape of the international environment, what's going on in Ukraine, what's happening or might happen in Taiwan and so forth. How do we use all the tools of statecraft, not just the military and not just tariffs, but international law, diplomacy, and how do we put it all together in a package that best serves the interests of the American people? And so when you look at what's happening with these boats, you have to ask, what if Russia decides to do this? What if China decides that it makes up anything in the South China Sea that's moving must be a threat to China and starts knocking off boats? Certainly wouldn't like it. So I think we have to be very careful about the example we set. I hope that the administration will come forward soon with more of a legal justification and make sure that this is not a partisan but a bipartisan thing. It's got the support of the entire Congress. That's the way that American foreign policy is strongest.
Yeah. General, I only have a minute left, and I hate to bring up a whole new topic. I don't want to have to cut you off. But this headline just ran from CNN. The Department of Defense has okayed Tomahawk missiles for Ukraine, and it will leave the decision finally to President Trump. In our remaining 30 seconds, should those missiles go to Ukraine?
Absolutely right. Yep, puts more pressure on Putin, brings us closer to an end of the war. Yes, absolutely. Great decision.